And I'm Congressman Dana Rohrabacher, Chairman of the Subcommittee on Investigation Oversight. In the early hours of Friday, April 8th, units of the Iraqi Army, numbering about 2,500 and including armored vehicles, assaulted Iranian civilians at Camp Ashraf, murdering at least 34 residents and wounding hundreds more. These were unarmed people being shot down by full-time professional, well-armed troops. I believe this was an atrocity, a massacre, perhaps a crime against humanity. It's Elhamdadu, Sanapur. Can you hear us?
I have one more question. The Iraqi government wants Camp Ashraf moved to another location. The Iranian government probably does as well. What would happen to the safety to the residents of Camp Ashraf if you were moved to some other location in Iraq?
Well, first of all, it's illegal for the Iraqi government to want such a thing because under international law we cannot be transferred, expelled or displaced to any other location either inside Iraq or outside Iraq against our own will. As we are protected persons under the 4th Geneva Convention and we have signed an agreement with the U.S. forces in 2004, the responsibility for Ashraf residents until the final displacement is with the U.S. forces. Now, the issue about moving us to another part of Iraq, perhaps far from the border, this is just another pretext of another crime. Moving us somewhere far from the border, where we are far from international spotlight, is just like asking us to go to a concentration camp. And just allow me to say that this is to the demands of the Iranian regime. This is what the Iranian regime exactly wants. And we will never surrender to such a demand, to go to a concentration camp and be murdered far from international spotlight.
The wholesale murder of unarmed refugees simply cannot be ignored. After the attack, the State Department asserted that the, quote, crisis and loss of life was initiated by the government of Iraq and the Iraqi military, end of quote. But what about before the attack? Was the U.S. Embassy or the commander of U.S. forces in Iraq notified of the Iraqi military buildup outside the camp or of their intentions? Was the Iraqi government contacted? Did they contact us? If so, what was the response? What response did we give them? And what was the Iraqi response if we questioned them? Why was a United States unit deployed at Camp Ashraf ordered away just hours before the attack? We would like to have asked the State Department these questions.
So it seems to me he had plenty to hide is the reason we weren't allowed to go to Camp Ashraf and hear from the residents. When the Iraqi soldiers stormed Camp Ashraf on April the 8th, fired at the residents and ran them over with American Humvees, 36 were killed, including women and children. It was a human rights atrocity, and the U.S., with thousands of troops still fighting for peace in Iraq, has done little more than issue just a statement. It's not conducted its own investigation, hasn't asked the UN to investigate, and there is no point in the Iraqi government investigating the attack because they are the ones who ordered the attack. They certainly are going to find no fault with the action of their own military. A week after the attack, a letter with 18 members of the House to Secretary Clinton and Secretary Gates, asking them to shed some light on this violent attack. It is now July. To date, there is blissful silence from the administration and have given us no answer for this inhumane attack of Iraq on the people of Iraq. I guess they are too busy bombing Libya in the name of humanity to get back with us. Instead, the administration has proposed a new relocation plan for the camp. They want to move the camp to some other location within Iraq. This is the same plan the Iranians themselves proposed years ago. We have heard how dangerous this would be to the residents of the camp. In May, I sent a letter to Secretary Clinton opposing this misguided plan. Camp Ashraf is recognized around the world as a refuge for those who oppose the Iranian regime. And if we move it within Iraq, they will lose that public recognition while leaving residents under the same control of the Army. There's something directly under our control that we can do, and that is we can take the MEK off the foreign terrorist organization list.
I should mention that at both times, both in July of 2009 and April of 2011, when these attacks took place, our Secretary of Defense was in country. It would be hard to imagine a more calculated slap at this country than that. I urge the committee to hold a hearing at which the State Department is required to justify its policy or to change it, and at which this committee inquires also into what our government is doing to enforce the Leahy Amendment that bars both military and civilian aid from this country to military units like the Iraqi units that murdered Ashraf residents.
As the Anti-Terrorism Force Protection Officer for all of Iraq and as the J3 for detention operations and the base commander of Camp Ashraf, I'd like to make one point up front. The MEK is not a terrorist organization. The situation of the MEK becomes more critical, as evidenced in the film footage of July 2009 and April 2011. In these videos, we observe Maliki's forces using U.S.-supplied vehicles and equipment to run down and shoot defenseless people. We witness the courage of the residents of Ashraf. Despite knowing they may be the next to die, they rush to the rescue of their fallen comrades. Courage under fire is an admirable trait. Killing unarmed people is murder. Yet the U.S. State Department has done nothing of substance to address these attacks or the entire Ashraf situation.
Judge McCasey, the camp, if it's moved somewhere else in Iraq, what do you think will happen to the residents?
That can't possibly, nothing good is the short answer. It is not in any way a threat to Iran where it is. Certainly nobody from the camp has lobbed anything into Iran, nor have any of the incursions against the camp come from Iran. They've come from Iraq. So moving them within Iraq isn't going to solve any problems. So the only thing it'll do is take them out of sight and thereby allow the Iraqi government, at the behest of the Iranians, to finish them off. That would be a disaster.
Would the residents of Camp Ashraf be safe anywhere in Iraq, say in a Sunni part of that country, or is it critical that we get them out? And then not to mention, obviously, any moving of them would be dangerous and would have to be carried out, I think, by U.S. forces. But if they arrived in some other part of Iraq, would they be any safe from there now?
I agree with the young lady that was in the video at the very front. They would not be safe.
Mm-hmm. So either there has to be U.S. or UN protection of Camp Ashraf, or much better, the people have got to be outside of both Iran and Iraq.
That is correct. And if I may add to this, we had approximately 195 defectors that was being protected at the American camp. Working with Barzani, we were able to get them released into Kurdistan, and their fate was a very terrible one, and they ended up having to come back and asking for financial help from the MEK so that they could try to move on with their lives. So the answer, as proven by evidence with what happened to the defectors, is nowhere in Iraq is safe.
There will be a list of questions offered to the State Department concerning the massacre at Camp Ashraf, including when they knew about what and who gave orders for our military to leave, et cetera, and I've detailed some of those questions. So there will be an official list of questions from this committee to the State Department and we will expect an answer. If we do not get an answer, I will proceed with making sure that we have a follow-up hearing until those questions are answered.